Hmm?
Hi, my name is Ayanfe. This is Inside Life by Street Souk. Get ready with me to go play at Ama Studios tonight, this evening, this afternoon, whichever. I don't think I actually have mornings. I wake up 1 p.m. sometimes, 11 a.m. and wake up, play with my dog, take him down to potty, give him food. Yeah, and just vibe, to be honest. So usually before the day I actually get to create, I have to go to the studio, which is on the mainland, to settle in because I'm fond of I have this ritual that I do when I'm at the studio where I have to sort of like do warm-up works before the actual piece. So I go to the studio to adapt again, feel at home, and then yeah, exercise a little, walk a little, experience like the neighborhood, and then the next day actually now start work. I actually look forward to what I eventually create at the end of the day. If it's going to be a day where I get to like work on an art piece, but if it's just a vibey day where I'm just going with the flow, I think what I really look forward to is actually just coming back to bed. Yeah, just come back to bed. I feel like they actually take turns. Sometimes I'm painting, sometimes I'm friends with my controller, sometimes I'm on my iPad. I feel like it's never like a situation where one takes over the other one, because when I'm having like when I need to take a break from art, or when I'm done like with um, what's it called, with the project I'm working on art-wise, I find the time to also do other things. And when I'm doing other things, I find the time to, or I sort of like stay away from other things. Alright, so I feel like it just goes in turns, like. But although sometimes I wouldn't lie, being a DJ actually sometimes steal from my art time, because usually like when I'm at the studio, I'm locked in. I never really get to leave the space until I'm done with what I'm doing, like until I've passed on the message I'm trying to pass. And then I get like a call for a booking next weekend or this weekend, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's tempting. And then I dip, I go for this booking when I'm supposed to be creating at the studio. Then I come back to the island, I've done my gig. I find it hard going back to the studio because, again, like I said earlier, when I have to go prepare, like when I have to work on anything art-wise, I always have to be at the studio a day before so I can adapt. So it means that I'm just going to have to come back again and then go through that ritual again, go through the adapting phase to now start creating. So yeah, sometimes DJing steals from me, but most of the time it goes in turns. See, I feel like if there's something about my journey that art can say, then definitely, like, I don't think I'll be able to say right now because it's difficult for me to say. I can't find ways to translate it except I'm doing it via creation. So whatever it is that I probably feel like I'm trying to pass across already is being said through my works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have some pieces owned by me and some I've collected. So I wouldn't say my house is. I think in my own space, I just have two works by me. Alright, cause I won't lie. This painting is vibes. Like, so I'm the kind of person, I'm the kind of artist who sort of, sometimes I have to create. I feel like sometimes like there are voices inside of me fighting to be heard, right? And most of the time I don't really know exactly what I'm trying to say. I just know that there's something inside of me fighting to be heard, and I hit the canvas, I just start creating, and eventually like I'm able to find the meaning along the line, based off of what I've listened to, people I've experienced, places I've been to, things that I'm going through, right? But I remember when I created these pieces, I was actually trying to experiment with, like, it was more of like a technical experimentation. Like, I was trying to experiment with new colors, new paints, like a new brand that I started using, and I was also trying to play around some grains. These two pieces, you would think they're diptych or they're diptych, but no. This was actually a diptych, like a 2-in-1 piece. That was also a 2-in-1 piece, but someone bought one off this one and then one off that one. I don't know why. And somehow it just makes sense that these two are the ones that I have left, because it feels like they speak to each other. The time I created this one was different from the time I created that one. I created this one a year earlier than I created that. And one thing I found about myself is every year, somehow, I find myself creating dialogues, like pieces on dialogues, figures, characters, sort of like soul searching, having a communication without actually having a communication. I don't know what that communication is, and usually when I have to tie a story to it, I always just use poems, because I feel like that's the most abstract way to interpret whatever it is I'm trying to say regarding pieces like this. So yeah, again, I would say that this was initially just vibes. I was just doing my thing, and I realized that when I did the second piece, it just made sense that it was a dialogue, it was a conversation, like it was sort of like a soul search type of situation, trying to connect type of situation. That as well, it was also the same thing. So that's that about that. Then I have some pieces I collected from Marrakesh. Whenever I travel, I like to come back with souvenirs, and most of the souvenirs are art pieces and just little things, right? So I picked this up from Marrakesh, photography, artists, basically to just depict the things that I do. And then I got dentists. Honestly, I'm going to lie. My stepdad, no, this is real, this part is real. My stepdad is a dentist, but like, it has nothing, like this has nothing to do with, it's just away from the things that I do. So yeah, I just bought this for sentimental sake. Yeah, and then another dentist artwork. I don't know what my P is with dentists, but yeah. Also, maybe this is part of it. I spent, fun fact, I spent 90% of my teenage and youth wearing braces. So normally it was supposed to be just 1 year and a half, but I happened to wear my braces for 10 years. Right, and yeah, so I was always going to the dentist. I was always having one issue or another, either braces issues or impacted wisdom tooth. So they knew me everywhere, and I feel like the healthcare worker that's actually like frustrated my life the most are dentists. Yeah, so I always find myself going back there. So maybe that's why I'm drawn to them. Yeah, so there's this, and then a lamp that I made at the workshop. I like making things. I guess that's why I also do WWYD. I have this. The actual story behind this one, I was also on exchange with one gallerist in Abuja, a gallery I worked in Abuja, and yeah, she gave me this piece because I really like Francis Agemo in exchange for a small piece. Then these two pieces are by Chinaza Nkemka. Yeah, by Chinaza Nkemka. She used to intern at my studio, and I love her piece. I think she's fantastic. I also have like more pieces by her downstairs. I feel like I actually recently just started talking about Yoruba folklore, and it hit me when I realized that I didn't really have as much access to the stories that my grandma used to tell me when I was much younger. I needed information on some things. Like I've always been interested in folktales because of my grandma, and I felt like when she died, it seemed like an old library had basically just been burned down. So yeah, I started working on Yoruba folktales when I realized the importance of humans actually just understanding their culture, learning about their culture. And it felt very important to me because when I realized, or how do I put this? It hit me when I realized that I couldn't get access to some information because my grandma was dead and she was the only one I could reach out to give me certain information on like folktales and stuff. So like I felt that it would make a lot of sense to, you know, not reinvent, but like document these stories that were told to me, because a lot of people, my peers, didn't really know them. And this doesn't just boil down to like Yoruba folktale. I feel like other folktales, because like other tribes have their own different cultures and everything, and I feel like the need to extend, how do I put this, extend the life in folktales. Yeah, so I felt the need to just preserve the knowledge, the need to also retell the stories, because there were some parts of the stories that I also told in the projects that I've done that I felt were being unfair to the physically challenged, and I felt like there was need for me to also like tackle that. So I basically just reinvented like part of the story. So yeah, that's basically what I've done so far with folktales. Misunderstood is actually a very big word, and it's crazy because I'm not Mali. Okay, misunderstood. Well, I don't really think I'm misunderstood. I feel like at the end of the day, the people I'm trying to talk to are the people I feel who need the message. Like when I create, I feel like I'm speaking for myself and I'm speaking for people, right? And I'm speaking to people and for people, right? So the ones who actually misunderstand the message, the ones who actually misunderstand the work that I do, I feel like the works weren't created for them. So I don't really think I feel misunderstood. I feel very understood. It's more about So my favorite set so far, Soul Shift, which was recently. It was a small event, and crazily, I was actually closing the set, and it's insane because like a lot of people had already left, and I was playing to like 20 people, and it was so amazing. Like I felt souls move, souls shake. I felt the stage shake. Like it was really good. Then I also I really enjoyed my set at Group Therapy, Elementals. It's very hard to actually remember my most memorable sets, but these are the ones that are actually coming off the top of my head. So yeah, Soul Shifts, Group Therapy, and Elementals, they were fire. Oh yeah, I feel like my assignment on Earth is actually to restore, to document, and to sort of like renew or reshape ideas, to reshape history in a way. I feel like it's my duty. Like I said regarding like folk tales and how I feel like there is need to preserve folk tales, there's need to preserve folklore. Like that's a very important part of culture that I feel like we've lost or we're losing, and people don't really have access to because the Westerners have sort of like adulterated the story. So whatever it is we listen to now, or we hear, or we read on, like they're mostly watered down or tweaked, right? So I feel like it's my duty to actually preserve history, with history, culture, using all the mediums in which I used to communicate, arts, sound, you know, even like fashion with WWYD. It sound like I make refixes of certain songs, like for example, Action Film. A lot of people have forgotten that song, but like I felt like Action Film by Brimo. Recently, I worked with Yimika and Aries on it, and I just felt like it would be cool to actually make refixes of songs that we used to listen to growing up. Because like right now, when I ask people, do you know certain songs by Michael Jackson, they're like, no, they don't know it. And I'm like, how don't you know Michael Jackson? Because Michael Jackson was my rock star, my superstar, right? So just a way to preserve, you know, that part of culture, I feel like it's my responsibility to sort of renew, modify, and put out these messages in ways that people of now can actually appreciate them. I actually love to learn. I've realized that I am just learning like my way through life, and I am a big experimental person. I don't believe in not doing. Like, I'm too much of a doer. I'm too much of a maker. So yeah, I think my superpower right now is my will to learn, and that is basically what has led me into doing all of the things I do now, like arts, DJ, and even many more that I probably would delve into as well. Yeah. So WWYD means what would you do, not what were you doing or where were you there, or I don't know. People have called it different things. WWYD means what would you do, and I see WWYD as a blank canvas where people basically just express and find themselves. Again, like, I think WWYD is for misfits. People just finding their place in this life, right? So basically, like, the people shape what and who WWYD is. How we started, it was from a test product. Okay, before then, like, the whole idea of WWYD started from basically me appreciating like my friends, my peers, people around me, and seeing how talented they are and ways in which, you know, we can work together to sort of put each other out, right? I have friends who are fashion designers, who are stylists, photographers, you know, artists, and I'm like, at the time when I thought about WWYD, I was just at the point where I'm like, okay, I have access to certain spaces, I have access to certain things, and if I actually start something and include my people, that basically would help them sort of get the attention, do you understand, that I feel they need, because I really have like badass friends, people who are really good at what they're doing, and that's basically where it started. So we started WWYD to sort of like solve that problem of people, creatives not being appreciated, and also solve the problem of finding a job, right? And then from there we decided to drop a product, which was our very first cap. It was a pink and green cap. At the time I was doing my exhibition at AF, and I was giving like a project to basically research on toxic masculinity. I'd done the project on sci-fi, like how sci-fi movies affect toxic masculinity, my tongue, yeah. And I thought to actually go into like to check how fashion also affects it. So we did a test product, which was the pink and green cap, to see if men would buy. We got the product, it was actually really fire, I was so excited, and on the side, like, it was kind of like an epic fail, because guys who bought it were still asking for like a blue one, they were asking for black, how about brown, how about red, do you understand? Not that they didn't appreciate it, but they were still asking the questions that I'd hoped they wouldn't ask. So yeah, the product it sold out, and me and my friends were happy about it, so we decided, okay, yeah, let's make more, let's do other stuff. So we decided to make more products, and yeah, that's where WWYD started from. We realized that a lot of people actually just fell in love with the brand for what we are, for who we are, what we are, where we're headed, and that's basically like what the whole plan or what the whole thing was about, like right from start anyway. So we've just been going with the flow and building our little village.